Hi everyone, Raisa Shafira Affandi here. This time, we'll explore poetry and the five senses. We'll discover how poets use sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell to bring their words to life. Let's begin. The learning objectives for this module are 1. To gain an understanding of what imagery is in poetry and its relationship to the five senses, and 2. To be able to identify examples of imagery in poetry and which sense it relates to. So, what is imagery in poetry? So, the poetic image is not just visual, but an activation of any of the five senses. In poetry, imagery is the use of vivid and descriptive language to appeal to the reader's senses, creating a mental picture or experience. It's a way for poets to engage their readers emotionally by evoking sights, sounds, smells, tastes, and textures. By appealing to the five senses, imagery can enhance a reader's experience of the text by immersing them more deeply in the world of the poem. Let's look at the things imagery does. First, it appeals to the senses. Imagery uses language that stimulates the senses, making the poem's subject matter more tangible and relatable for the reader. It also creates mental pictures. It's like painting a picture, but with words, allowing the reader to visualize or imagine the scene, object, or experience in the poem. Third, it also evokes emotion. By appealing to the senses instead of being vague and general, imagery can evoke stronger emotions and create a deeper connection between the reader and the poem. So, because imagery appeals to the five senses, types of imagery can be categorized by what sense they evoke. First, we have visual imagery, which evokes sight. For example, in this poem by Ezra Pound, we have phrases like, "The sunset shadow," and "the roses bloom." And "the sapphire seas grow dull to shine again," so we imagine a new day appearing after an old day, along with images of a sunset, shadows, rose blooming. Sapphires, too, are associated to seas, so we imagine sapphires while picturing seas. Auditory imagery evokes sound or our sense of hearing. For example, in this poem, we imagine the sounds of bird, with clear cockcrow, caw of rooks, the frail pipe of linnet, the ting-ting of chaffinches. And it's put together with the sentry muttering one-word piece, so it's more softly than the birds. So here is an auditory landscape created where the poem prompts us to imagine a combination of sounds. Next is tactile imagery, which evokes our sense of touch. Now, this isn't just to do with human touch, but also the image of any surfaces touching each other. For example, in this poem, we have the rain gently patting the rooftop, the drops sliding down a window. It also clings to the warmth of fingertips pressing against the glass and then losing grip. So there's many different intensities of touching throughout the poem, being more gentle and detached in the beginning and slowly becoming more intimate and clingy before finally losing grip again. Next, we have olfactory imagery, which evokes our sense of smell. In this poem, the sense of smell is evoked by the smell of steaks in passageways, perhaps reminding you of dinner time, and the burnt-out ends of smoky days. So the end of this day is marked by lots of different smells. Finally, we have gustatory imagery, which evokes our sense of taste. Here, very explicitly, our sense of taste is evoked by the plums. The poem describes them as delicious, so sweet, and so cold. So we have a clearer picture of what the plums taste like, instead of if the poem just said the word plums without describing it more. Now, all these different types of imagery don't only appear by themselves, they can also appear together. Let's take a look at this poem. It's an excerpt from The Wasteland by T.S. Eliot. Which types of imagery can you find in this poem? For example, for visual imagery, you might look at the lilacs out of the dead land. You might look at the snow. For tactile imagery, you can think about the dried tubers. It's very dry. There's a shower of rain covering earth, stirring. And perhaps for gustatory, there's the drinking of coffee in the last line, and auditory, while talking for an hour. So you really imagine the world that this poem builds using your 5 senses. Now, let's review what we've learned. Imagery is the use of vivid and descriptive language to appeal to the reader's senses by evoking sights, sounds, smells, tastes, and textures. By appealing to the 5 senses, imagery can enhance a reader's experience of the text by immersing them more deeply in the world of the poem. This can help evoke more intense emotion in the reader. And that's a wrap. Keep noticing those sensory details. They're the magic threads that make poetry vivid. See you in the next session.